Hi everyone, this is Ed from Runnable and this is my 100-mile review of the Hoka Cielo X1. This review is entirely my review. I bought this shoe with my own money. Nobody has had a chance to influence this review, so you can be rest assured this is an unbiased opinion of how good I think the shoe is. Okay, let's start basically with the upper, okay? The upper. So this is a reasonably good upper. I mean, the lockdown's pretty good. It's got a pretty hard heel counter here, but not too hard. I haven't had much irritation of my Achilles with this. You have some padded areas around the heel collar here and around the sides to keep your foot in place and your ankle supported. The actual material in the upper is kind of cordial, like reminds me of cords, you know, the cord trousers that you wear. It's not the most breathable, but in the UK I haven't found any issues with this. If you're in a hot state in America, I don't know, like Texas, you may find issues with this. The much maligned lacing, I don't mind at all. Once you fiddle around with them and get them in a good way, they stay in place once they're tied. You need to tie a double knot though, and this is why it got a lot of criticism. The laces come undone if it's a single knot, so it's not too difficult to tie a double knot. So I'm sure most of us can do that, and if you do that and you fiddle around with it, you'll get a really good lockdown and the laces won't come loose whatsoever during the race. The tongue is quite stretchy. It's fine. It just bunch up a little bit, so you have to be aware of that. But if you fiddle around with it before you go on one of your races or your runs and get it in place properly, you'll be fine. It doesn't really move once that's the case. Yeah, all in all, I think a good upper. Probably not the best, but not a bad effort by Hoka. I think in the future, they want to reduce the weight of this shoe. They could look at the material here and have it, a little bit lighter weight. I think that would be a good option for them for the next version of this shoe. And I'll mention a few things I think they could change for the next version. But yeah, that's all I want to say about the upper. Good upper. I don't think you're gonna have that many problems. Oh, one last thing, sorry. Toe box, you get a good amount of room, and that's not always the case with Hoka shoes. So this one I found very comfortable. So I ran the London Marathon in this, and the upper, I didn't have any issues with my toes cramping, getting cramped or pressure. So and that's a good sign for me of a good upper. Outsole, as you can see, has got really good rubber coverage. I've started to wear it away after 100 miles on the lateral side. It's where I land. I slightly supinate, but by and large, the tread has remained in place. Like I said, I've run marathons in this. I've also run lots of half marathons, 10Ks, where I've hit the ground hard because I'm going fast. And, this has stayed in place. And by and large, it's not too dissimilar from when I took it out of the box, apart from, like I said, my main landing area, which has worn away the tread, but the rubber is still fine. So good outsole. One that I think, again, if they're looking to lose a bit of weight here, they may have a bigger cutout, or they may slightly reduce the depth of this rubber here. You can see it's quite thick. But in some ways, I hope they don't do that, because one of the advantages of this shoe over many of the racing shoes is it's quite durable. I'm going to talk about that in a bit. And then the midsole, over the 100 miles, this midsole has been absolutely incredible with the wing play and this amazing foam that Hoka have developed, this PEBA-based foam. It's just incredible. I think it's possibly the most bouncy, responsive, fun, enjoyable midsole that I've used on any shoe, and that includes the Primex Strung Original. They've really got something here, Hoka. And what they need to do for the next version is not mess around with this too much. The geometry of the shoe, you can see with the nice rocker here, is really good for 4-foot landers who land around about here and want to spring and toe off. You get such a nice feeling when you run in this shoe. It's like running on supercharged pillows, the way I would describe it. There's probably a better description somewhere out there. If you know of any, put them in the comments. But yeah, for me, this is like, I wouldn't say marshmallows because that makes it sound like you're sinking, you spring off. So supercharged pillows is what I'm going to go with for now. It's a great shoe, a midsole for running fast, but you can also do some slow runs in this shoe. The aggressive rocker means that even your slow runs, you'll probably end up doing quicker than you expect, but they'll feel nice and cushioned. I ran with this shoe in the London Marathon, and I think for 20 miles, this was incredible. I went into that marathon injured, and this really looked after my foot and ankle. My ankle was what was injured, so it relieved the kind of pounding and the pressure that you get over that 26-mile distance. Why I said 20 miles before is it did slightly start to bottom out in the last 6 miles. I think that's maybe the case with a lot of running shoes, particularly ones with a softer foam. So if there is a negative with this midsole, it's maybe slightly too soft, and maybe in the next version, and please don't hate me for this, the people who love this this midsole and this foam, they make it a tiny bit firmer so it doesn't bottom out. Then you've got like the most incredible marathon racing shoe on the planet. So we get the weight down and we get it slightly firmer, keep everything the same apart, maybe change the upper for something lighter. If we get the weight down from like 260, which it is in my UK size 9, 264, get it down to sort of 220, you've got an absolute winner here. It's a winner anyway, but that would be take it to the next level. Some people will want the laces gone. I'm not too bothered, but if they could put laces a bit like you get with the on the Nike Vaporfly and Alpha Flies and Diodora Gara Carbon, that would be great. They're for me are the best kind of laces out there. But yeah, so this over the 100 miles has served me well as both a racing shoe. I've done countless 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons, marathon in this, and hold some of my fastest times in this shoe. So it's a quick shoe, and in the right hands, in a midfoot to forefoot striker, this is a weapon. A real weapon, particularly over the longer distances, half marathon to marathon. But like I said, I've run this 5Ks in this shoe, and they've been pretty decent 5Ks for me. Same with 10Ks. I've even used this off-road in some, what I would class as, I run for a club in North London, and we have midweek races in Hertfordshire, and you run through woodland and over tree roots and blah blah blah. And these have performed really well, and particularly because there's a lot of going downhills and uphills, and on the downward hill sections, this has really come to life and allowed me to take the pressure. So yeah, it supported me pretty well. So it's not a stability shoe, but it's not unstable, this shoe. And compared again to the Primex Strung, if we think about that as one of its nearest rivals or competitors, this is far more stable. So again, people with ankle problems or problems with stability in general, I think you're going to find this shoe is pretty good. You've even got like some sidewalls here to keep your foot locked in place, which again you don't get with the Primex Strung. So yeah, good stability, good wear. The upper is kept in place, no breakages, no rips. So over 100 miles, this has really impressed me, to be honest. I've done lots of training runs in this as well. So yeah, it's probably done way over 100 miles, to be honest. And considering that, it's in pretty good nick. It's not quite the same as when I took it out of the box, but it's not far off. And I would definitely, even now, race another marathon in this shoe and not have a problem. I tend to use this more now for like longer training runs, but I will definitely consider buying a new pair. I've got Berlin and Chicago coming up, and for Berlin I'm going to probably use the Saucony Endorphin Elites and really go for it. And then Chicago 2 weeks later, I need something a bit more comfortable because my legs will probably be aching quite a lot, so maybe this will come back into play. So who's this suitable for? I've touched on it already. Midfoot to forefoot strikers I think are best. You could use this, it's got a wide heel, so if you're a heel striker you could use this. But I think, you know, forefoot and midfoot, particularly midfoot actually, because there's a nice kind of bump you can't really see here, where you can move through onto the forefoot, and you get a lot of spring. I think those people are going to find this a really good shoe. Heavier runners will like this because you get a lot of cushioning. Anyone who's looking to run a marathon, I would say sub 4 hours. I ran London in this in 3 hours 2 minutes, and I definitely think, in, you know, for the right runner who's looking to go under 3 hours in comfort, this would be a great shoe. But anyone looking to run a marathon fairly quickly but in comfort and enjoy most of it as much as you can do with a marathon, this is a great shoe. I can't really pick up too many faults. I mean, lots of people, like I said, hate the laces. The upper, they seem to have a problem with. But the rest of the shoe, you know, in my mind, is a magnificent marathon racing shoe. And one that I could, you know, suggest to anybody who wants to run either their first marathon or they've done a couple and they're looking for something a bit more lively. If it's your first marathon, if you're new to running, it takes a little bit of time to get used to the geometry of the shoe. But once you do, it comes to life. It's magical. Yeah, I don't think there's particularly much more. In terms of competitors, I think the Prime X Strung and Strung 2 are obvious competitors. You know, both, again, you could use at marathon as a marathon shoe, but you could also use over, you know, long distance running. With the rocker like this, maybe a quicker, lighter version would be the Saucony Endorphin Elite. That's got an aggressive rocker. And the other shoe that springs to mind is the Wave Rebellion Pro 2, which is even more aggressive than this shoe, with a more pronounced rocker and a more pronounced midfoot bump. I describe it as like a speed bump, which flings you forward. It's not as comfy a ride, the Wave Rebellion Pro 2, but it is a very quick shoe. And I would say the Saucony Endorphin Elite and the Wave Rebellion Pro 2 potentially are quicker shoes than this, but you're not going to get as comfortable a ride. Both have firmer foam, and both are a touch more aggressive than this shoe. And this shoe is fairly aggressive, so they're right up there. Yeah, so that's final thoughts. Yeah, I think this has been brilliant over 100 miles, and that's not something you can say very often about a race shoe. I think it's potentially up there with the most durable race shoes going, and it's still, like I said, still plush, still comfortable, and I still like a go-to shoe for my longer miles, my longer training miles, and races where I feel like I need more support or need more comfort. So that's my 100-mile review of the Cielo X1 done now. I hope you found it informative. If you've got any comments, just please put them in. It's always good to get some feedback. If you have any thoughts on this shoe yourself, if you disagree or agree with what I've said. If you like the channel and what I'm trying to do here, please subscribe. That really helps me. And in general, if you kind of follow me and follow my videos, I try and upload every day. So if you subscribe and hit the bell, you'll get notified when there's something new that's arrived from Runnable. But that's me, Ed from Runnable. Take care, everyone, and thank you very much for listening to me rabble on today about one of my favourite ever shoes. I hope if you buy this shoe, you love it as much as me. God bless. Hey, it's Ed from Runnable. I'm still aching a bit from my 20-mile run, but this morning I've got to try and do I don't know, around about 15k or something like that. So with my legs feeling the way they are, I'm going to be wearing let me show you, just give me a sec, there you go. I'm wearing the Cielo X1 this morning, probably my favourite shoe, if I'm being honest. I like Suplas that I wore yesterday, but these are just super fun and bouncy. I'm going up a hill with them now, The only reason I won't use these for Berlin is because they're slightly heavier than some of the other shoes, but they are probably still my favourite. If you get a chance to try out the Cielo, I would go for it, because they really are incredible shoe. Stable, quick, bouncy, you've got everything really. Be a great first marathon shoe. You just got to get used to them. When you first put them on, they can feel very weird. Because of the pronounced rocker, they're tipping you forward. It feels a bit like you've got a speed bump under your foot. Very similar to the Wave Rebellion Pro 2 or Pro 1. Again, good shoes. They were in contention for the marathon as well. I just feel like they're just almost too aggressive for me, and you don't get the nice cushion that you do with the Cielo. But these are still an option. You know, if I get, you know, towards the day that I'm doing Berlin and I'm not feeling great, my legs aren't great, these are going to be on my feet for the marathon, because I know they got me through London when I'd been injured for 8 weeks with an ankle injury. So I only really had, I think it was 5 weeks of proper training for London, and these shoes got me through that, and also got me a 3:02 time, still my personal best. So they're a good shoe, and in some ways I'm mad not to be using the Berlin, but I just like the Elites, Dolphin Elites, Saucony Dolphin Elites. I want to give another shoe a try. I think the combination of the weight, what are these, 260, and the Dolphin Elites are like 220, and also the fact that I've used these a lot more, so they're a bit more worn, and also towards the end of that marathon they did start to bottom out a bit, and I think that's the problem with these softer foams, to be honest. So finished my run with this Cielo X1, and the weather is absolutely glorious now. Yeah, just to say what a great shoe this is. I know I mentioned it on the run footage, but anyone looking for a marathon shoe is prepared to get used to these shoes a bit, spend a good sort of couple of weeks figuring out how to foot strike with these shoes. If you're a 4-foot striker, you're going to love these. They spring you along amazingly well. I would recommend these. Yeah, 4-foot, mid-foot strikers, definitely. Heel strikers, maybe not so much, but I think they could still do a job, to be honest. The foam's that good. The midsole is the magic here. It's just an amazing midsole that Hoka have developed here. I'm really excited to see where this shoe's going to go in the future. If they could shed a few pounds off it, get it down to sort of 220, and maybe make the foam a tiny bit firmer, you've got a real fast racer here. Something to rival the Endorphin Elites and Sky Parises of this world. I don't think it's quite as quick as those shoes, but certainly if you want a shoe to get you through a marathon in a comfortable way and still do a decent time, this is the one. Yeah, so can't recommend this enough. Should be up there in many people's, you know, top marathon picks. And yeah, I'll do the full 100-mile review, but yeah, I think I'm in love with this shoe. Enough said. Bye bye.